Tonight on Coyote News, the latest details on a reported sexual assault that occurred last week in Coyote Village. And the new USD website hit the internet last week. Find out how students feel about the site's updated look. I'm Michaela Feldman.
And I'm Bailey Millen. Last week, future Coyotes ranging in ages from 7 to 18 visited USD. Learn more about how the Scripps Spelling Bee and the Science Olympiad bring young students to campus.
Plus, find out where the women's softball team goes until the long South Dakota winter is over. And after 2 games in the WNIT, the women's basketball season is finished. First, the headlines with Taylor Faust.
3 Americans are presumed dead in the plane crash in the southern French Alps. The State Department reports that they include a U.S. government contractor and her daughter. The mother was identified as Yvonne Selke and her grown daughter, Emily. The 3rd American thought to be on the plane has not yet been identified. The German wings, an A320, lost radio contact with air traffic controllers over the southern French Alps during a seemingly routine flight yesterday. The crash killed all 150 people on board. The cause of the crash has not yet been determined. U.S. officials say Sergeant Bao Birgdahl was reportedly abandoned his post in Afghanistan, will be charged with 1 count of desertion and 1 count of misbehavior before the enemy. Birgdahl was traded for 5 Taliban prisoners last year, and he could face life in prison. And those are your headlines.
Last week, University police responded to a report of sexual assault in Coyote Village. The investigation has been turned over to the Clay County State's Attorney's Office. Now, Coyote News' Anthony Gosh is live in the muck with Communications Director Tina Haroldson to find out how the university handles reports of sexual assault. Anthony?
Thanks, Bailey. With last week's alleged sexual assault, students are abuzz about sexual harassment and sexual assault and the steps the university takes when a situation like this happens. Thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
What details can you tell us about the alleged sexual assault from last week?
You know, there really haven't been very many details that have come out. We know there was a report, but right now that's about all we have is that there was an allegation, and it's being handled by police.
What steps does the university take in a situation like this?
Well, in the nature of this type of thing, where it was an alleged sexual assault, we take that very seriously. So the first people notified are the campus police, and they are deputized police officers. So they go in and investigate it and try to determine who was involved, what the nature of the situation was, and if they felt there was a threat to the community, we could issue a warning to students or issue an emergency alert.
What steps can students take to both prevent and stop sexual harassment and assault?
I think it's up to both the men and women here at USD to treat each other with respect, to be mindful of their surroundings, to watch out for overconsumption, whether it's alcohol or some other kind of drug, and to keep their wits about them, because sometimes these situations get out of control due to just the lack of attentiveness of people in the situation. It's also really important that we watch out for our friends, and if our friends sees a problem emerging with someone, that they speak up.
Thank you so much. Live from the muck, I'm Anthony Gosh. Back to
Anthony. This past fall, USD introduced a new online portal, and last week an even bigger change arrived. Coyote News' Katia Deshenko has the details on the university's new website.
A few weeks ago, posters began appearing around campus warning of a coming change. The new website, which has been in the works since 2011 and cost $400,000, was unveiled on March 16th. USD Marketing Director Tina Haroldson says it will keep USD competitive by attracting new students and being more user-friendly.
We felt that we needed to modernize our website, and we also wanted to have our website look good on smaller devices like phones and tablets.
Haroldson says in the future the website will have a personalization feature, making it appear differently for individual users based on their previous searches. Students had varying reactions to the new website.
It's good. I was surprised when I first saw it. I didn't get the email until later, so it was interesting, but it was good.
Yeah, I only use the website to go to D2L anyway, so I guess it looks good.
The website's actually a lot more attractive than it was before, and it's a lot better to navigate. And I think that it's, time that we actually got up to par with a lot of the other universities around the state. So.
For Coyote News, I'm Katia Dushenko.
Lakota is just one of several language programs at USD, but its origins are close to home. The Native American Cultural Center hosts events for students and the community and also provides Lakota language learning help. Assistant Professor Armik Merzayan says when he was approached to help lead the Lakota Roundtable, he knew it would be a great resource.
I said, yeah, that would be great. You know, the students will have time to do Lakota outside of class and in places where they would be able to engage with each other.
Merzayan says having a place for students to practice and learn the language plays a small part in keeping it alive.
There's been sort of this several hundred-year struggle for indigenous communities to maintain their culture, and along with that, to maintain their languages. And one of the bigger challenges is to learn the vocabulary, and you have to see that a lot. So seeing it in writing helps a lot.
The table teaches basic vocabulary and pronunciation of Lakota. This and other events hosted by NACC are encouraged for students and members of the community as well.
Coming up after the break, learn more about students who visited campus this weekend to test their science skills. And one student is heading to DC this summer after winning the Scripps Spelling Bee this weekend. Stay with us.
Your fire attack. 1926.
This weekend, South Dakota elementary and high school students traveled to campus for a science competition. Coyote News' Levi Goots has the story.
Saturday, USD hosted the 31st Annual South Dakota Science Olympiad. Schools from around the state sent teams to represent them in the competition.
The Olympiad is broken up into two divisions, B and C. The B division is made up of 6th through 9th graders, and the C division is made up of 9th through 12th graders.
The teams competed in various events, everything from science-themed Pictionary to estimating the pH levels in Pepsi. The event was hosted by numerous volunteer USD faculty and students.
We're all volunteers. I think across campus, every department, division has somebody who's volunteered, from physics to physical science.
Professor Ezraelson also said the experience was very rewarding.
It is exciting because it's the excitement of the kids. They're young and they're learning science and they're enthusiastic about honing their skills.
The winners of both divisions will move on to the National Science Olympiad. For Coyote News, I'm Levi Goots.
Yankton High School won the B division and Yankton Middle School won the C division. This past weekend, the Scripps Spelling Bee was held in Vermilion for the 4th consecutive year. This year, the competition was held in Farber Hall. The event showcased the talent of the brightest students from across the state, each fighting for the title of Spelling Bee champion. The format of the competition is the same as a traditional spell down, with each speller receiving 1 word per round.
I can never tell who's more nervous, the parents or the kids, but the kids, they hold up fantastic. I didn't have to give any hugs this year, which is, I've had to do that in years past. No tears.
The competition was open for students in 1st through 8th grade. Words contestants had to spell included alligator, fandango, and cognition. Owen Dudley correctly spelled the word non-descent for the win. Dudley's win advanced him to the 88th Scripps National Spelling Bee this May in Washington, D.C.
Yesterday, the art department hosted author and painter Sandy Brooke. Students packed into a fine arts building classroom to hear the Associate Professor of Art from Oregon State University speak. Brooke's lecture focused on her experiences and inspirations as an artist throughout her career. In addition to being an artist, Brooke has authored 3 books on drawing and painting, and she's produced films as well. She told the students she never believed that she would become an author or producer, but that being an artist is about keeping your options open. She ended the lecture by warning students that there will be struggles during their careers, but to keep faith and learn from each failure. Coming up after the break, find out about the latest Paw Points event that brought students to the Muck. Plus, we take a look at a tuba player's senior recital. Stay with us.
USD's Media and Journalism Department can be seen and heard all over campus. Faculty members know that hands-on experience now is the key to success after college. Get professional experience by participating in one of the many practicums offered. Have your voice heard on the radio. Edit a promo for a campus organization. Investigate breaking news stories for a weekly newspaper. Design advertisements for local businesses. Get involved with the Media and Journalism Department at USD and start your future now.
An elephant joined the circus in the Colton Recital Hall this weekend. That was one of the plots to a piece Jake Matheson played at his senior tuba recital. Matheson says he likes the playfulness and difficulty of the music. It was his last solo performance at USD before graduating and moving on to a teaching career. Matheson says he didn't initially choose to play the tuba, but started learning when it was needed for his school band. A senior recital is a graduation requirement for all music majors.
This Monday, students were able to earn Paw Points while tie-dyeing shirts. Tie-dyeing is just one of the numerous Paw Point events that have taken place throughout the year. Students earn Paw Points by swiping in with their student IDs at various events. The points can later be used to receive prizes like USD mugs or quarter-zip jackets. There are also grand prizes that include going to Red Steakhouse with one of the athletic coaches. Paw Points can also be earned for swiping in at athletic events such as football and basketball games. The next Paw Point event is Culture Shock tomorrow night at 7 in the Muck. Last night, members of the Pi Beta Phi sorority held their annual Pasta Bowtie Feed fundraiser, as Erica Arpan reports for this week's Yote Report.
Tonight is the annual Pi Phi Bowtie event where USD's Pi Beta Phi is raising money for literacy. The members of the House have gathered here tonight for the annual event. Sam Munson, Vice President of Philanthropy, tells us more about the night.
This is an annual event we've been doing for the last couple years, and all of the money we get to it goes to our literacy, and our literacy is philanthropy, and then the program is called Read, Lead, Achieve. So it goes to the schools to just kind of help promote literacy and help give the kids that opportunity to read.
Part owner of the local restaurant Cafe Brûlée, Jim Waters, works with the chapter in providing the food for the event. Over the years, Cafe Brûlée has been a great resource for this fundraiser. Donators not only have the chance to eat, they also get the opportunity to pie a member in the face.
Obviously we serve our pasta, and then we have something called Pi Pi Phi, and this is just kind of a fun thing we get to do. So if people come and they want to pie any of us, they can pay to do it.
And that's her favorite part.
Fun to see like how much fun everyone else has, and like we interact with people other than just like our Greek house, other than our chapter, and so it's fun to get that interaction with other individuals.
Last year, the fundraiser made about $3,000. Munson says the goal is to beat last year's number. For the Yote Report, I'm Erica Arp.
The USD Chamber Singers are back from the European tour they took during spring break. This past Saturday, the Chamber Singers hosted their last concert of the school year at the United Church of Christ. The ensemble performed worship songs and psalms in front of filled pews for 2 hours. The singers showcased new choral music from a variety of composers and historical periods. For the past 4 years, the group has performed pieces from choral director Johnny Priano. The chamber singers were able to fly him in from Pennsylvania for this last concert. The singers performed Priano's rendition of Psalm 23 in front of him to close this year's season. The ensemble's most recent recording, Nature's Witness, is available for purchase by contacting the music department. On this week's Coyote blog, Andy Hartman talks about what she thinks is the one thing missing from USD.
I would like to take this time to address the biggest problem on campus. I'm not talking about the fact that the convenience stores don't have Capri Sun, and I'm not talking about the fact that all the buildings on campus aren't connected by water slides. I'm talking about the fact that we can't have pets in our room. I know that we can have fish, but fish are kind of boring. Have you ever tried to walk a fish? It's slightly difficult. Tying a leash around Nemo's neck and taking him out for a stroll around campus is kind of hazardous to his health. Not just because of the lack of water, but because I don't trust the verm cats. I don't see the big deal about having a dog or cat in our rooms. I know that dogs can be rowdy, but if they do go ballistic in our rooms, the only stuff they could potentially destroy would be our stuff. I think that having our own pets would be good for us. Spending time with animals is proven to help reduce stress, and stress is something that there is a lot of on a college campus. I think that the university should be a little more lenient with the pet rule. I'm not asking for anything ridiculous. I mean, I'm not going to show up on move-in day with Clifford in tow, but just a nice chill dog or cat can't be too bad. For Coyote Blog, I'm Andy Hartman.
Thanks, Andy. Coming up after the break, find out where the women's softball team goes until the long South Dakota winter is over. And after 2 games in the WNIT, the women's basketball season is finished. Stay tuned.
Your fire attack. Your fire attack. 1926.
Tonight on Coyote Sports, the USD women's basketball season ends in heartbreaking fashion. Plus, find out how the Coyote softball team season is going so far. And in the Bauer Beat, Sean gives you his thoughts on college hockey's big problem. I'm Brandon Noel.
And I'm Sean Bauer. Coyote News' Levi Goots is live in the muck to talk about Dakotathon's March Madness bracket pool, and the Coyote track and field team's outdoor season has begun. But first, the headlines. Taylor?
Minnesota Vikings coach Mike Zimmer announced today that the team doesn't plan to trade Adrian Peterson and fully expect him to be with the team for the 2015 season. Peterson hasn't yet been reinstated by the NFL from his suspension under the personal conduct policy. The star running back and 2012 league MVP was suspended for disciplining his 4-year-old son with a wooden switch. The case was resolved in court with the plea bargain. Former NFL safety Darren Sharper pleaded guilty yesterday in Las Vegas to a reduced felony attempted sexual assault charge. This is Sharper's 3rd part of a 4-state plea deal that will put him in federal prison for 9 years. On Monday, Sharper also pleaded guilty to sexual assault in Arizona and no contest in Los Angeles to raping 2 women. Sharper is also due in federal court on April 6 in New Orleans for similar charges. And those are your headlines.
Thanks, Taylor. The women's basketball season ended on Sunday as they lost to Northern Colorado 59-58. Senior Nicole Seecamp hit a desperation shot with less than a second remaining, but it was ruled to be inside the 3-point arc, giving Northern Colorado the 1-point victory. Seecamp finished with 19 points in her final collegiate game, and fellow senior Rochelle Contreras added 8 in the loss. The Coyotes finished the season with a 26-8 record.
It was a busy weekend for the Coyote track and field teams. The Coyote throwers from both men's and women's teams competed at the Tulsa Duels in Oklahoma. Senior Cody Snyder won the discus, breaking his own school record with a throw of 188 feet and 7 inches. Snyder also finished as the runner-up in the shot put, and sophomore Jet Moreland won his first ever javelin competition as well. Now the rest of the track and field team competed at the Baldy Castillo Invite in Tempe, Arizona. Senior Megan Gleiser tied her outdoor school record of 6 feet to win the high jump. Lucas Bernard finished 3rd place in the 400-meter hurdles, and Mach Dojik placed 4th in the 800 meters. The Coyotes split up again this weekend, competing in the Clyde Littlefield Texas Relays in Austin and the Bobcat Invitational in San Marcos. Junior hurdler Tyvoski Lewin and senior thrower Kyle McKelvey have been named the 2015 Summit League Men's Indoor Track and Field Athletes of the Year. Hailing from Montego Bay, Jamaica, Lewin becomes the third consecutive Coyote to obtain the Men's Indoor Track Athlete of the Year honor. Lewin's indoor season honors include becoming a first-team All-American, Summit League Track Championship MVP, and setting a school, state, and Summit League record in the 60-meter hurdles at 7.81 seconds. A native of Beersford, McKelvey earns the honor after he earned all Summit League honors in the shot put and weight throw. McKelvey's throw of 63 feet 0 inches broke the Summit League Championship meet record, in addition to setting a new school and state record in the event.
The men's NCAA basketball tournament began last Thursday, and many people's brackets have already been busted. Now, Coyote News' Levi Goots is live in the muck with Dakota Junkman to discuss one student's organization bracket pool. Levi?
Thanks, Brandon. Before the NCAA tournament started, multiple organizations on campus started bracket challenges, including Dakotathon, and it's all for a good cause. Thanks so much for being with us. So, why did Dakotathon decide to do a bracket challenge this year?
Well, it was something the executive board did, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was fairly successful, so we decided we should test the waters and try it again. So we gave it a shot, and we had a pretty good turnout this year, but we're expecting greater turnouts in future years.
I was going to ask, how was the response to the challenge this year?
Well, it was fairly difficult to get people to sign up just simply because it was right after spring break, so a lot of people came back with not a whole lot of money, but we got about 25 people, and in the future we're expecting that to increase tremendously.
And then, how does this contribute to your year-round fundraising?
Well, we charge $5 a bracket, and all the proceeds are going to go directly into our total. So we are expecting about $100 to $150 from this. That's going to go straight into our total fundraising goal.
And then, besides the dance marathon, what other kind of fundraisers do you have around this kind of time of year?
Well, actually, right now we're hosting a pancake feed down at the Eagles, which will end at 7, and that's $5 for all you can eat pancakes. And coming up April 9th, we're hosting a trivia night at the Varsity, which will be teams of 5 to 6 people and $5 a person, and that's open to all ages.
All right, thank you. The national championship will take place April 6th. Live from the muck, I'm Levi Goots.
Thanks, Levi. The women's softball team is getting back into the swing of things this spring. Over spring break, the team traveled to a tournament in Florida and played in a doubleheader in Iowa this past weekend. Most athletic teams travel to warmer weather until weather in South Dakota improves.
But I mean, the travel part of it is probably the most fun because we get to go down south and we get to experience all that nice weather while everybody's still up here.
Daly says the challenges of going to a warmer climate for games are manageable with proper pregame preparation. With the start of the spring, USD will hold their home opener against Fort Wayne on April 11th. On this week's Bauer Beat, Sean discusses the present state of attendance at college hockey games.
The college hockey tournament was released on Saturday, and the regions were very interesting to say the least. College hockey is facing a major problem in its lack of attendance at its games. It's not that it doesn't have the fan bases. Watch a North Dakota or a Minnesota game and you'll notice the numbers are there. The NCAA's problem is it doesn't put teams in regions where the team's fans can easily travel to. Putting Minnesota and Minnesota Duluth in the Manchester, New Hampshire region is a prime example. Both programs have huge followings and are rivals, so their fans will watch the game. But having to travel all the way to New Hampshire to watch that game is going to limit those who will attend. Now, hockey isn't the most followed sport out there, and college hockey has even a smaller following. And televising games in empty arenas isn't going to help grow the college game. To sell the game, the NCAA needs to think of another strategy for its tournament. Allow the higher seeds to have home games, have 2 regions instead of 4 so more fans travel to one spot, anything that will get more people into the arenas. I'm hoping the NCAA will work to fix this problem sooner than later because hockey is growing in popularity and this will only boost that trend. And that's the Bauer Beat.
Thanks, Sean. Coming up next on this week's edition of Coyote Shorts, a new take on the 50 Shades of Grey movie. Stay with us.
Latino Student Organization is a all-inclusive student organization that focuses on bringing in Latino culture to University of South Dakota. We do fiestas, we do piñata parties. We also just hold potlucks where we cook and we just share Latino culture and food and just mingle.
Earlier this semester, the university made the announcement that certain sections of residence halls will become gender neutral next semester. This means men and women will be able to live in the same room.
On this week's Out and About, we asked students if they think gender neutral housing is a good idea.
I think it's a good idea just because it's not a big deal like it used to be.
I know a lot of people spend time with their significant other a lot, and they might as well just live together if they're spending so much time together.
I think it'd be a fun way to test it out, but I don't think there'd be a good result to it, no.
It just allows for a more equal environment for transgender students.
It could go two separate ways. It could go either really, really good or really bad, and there's going to be a lot of room changes. So I think it's just going to be a mess.
Well, I don't agree with that specifically, but people do that anyway. Like, people would want to do that anyway, and people are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah, I think, gender neutral is because, everybody lives with each other, I don't think, having a co-ed would make a difference,
I think it's a great step that USD is being the first school to accept that kind of thing, and I think it's going to be really good for us.
On this week's edition of Coyote Shorts, we take a look at a new spin on the 50 Shades of Grey movie.
So this is just an interview for the newspaper.
I'm here to interview Mr. Red for the newspaper. What's Mr. Red like?
He's polite, intense, a little intimidating.
I'm here from the Volant. Can I ask you a couple of questions?
What would you like to know?
What gave you your passion for TV news?
I've always been fascinated with people. Come with me. I want to show you something.
What's your philosophy of leadership?
I like to exercise control in all things. Wait here.
So, what does your work all entail?
I can show you better than I can tell you. Give me your hand.
When was the last time you were turned on by a news show?
A Louisiana man was in custody on Monday after shooting his 18-year-old son in the buttocks during a fight about orange juice. A police spokesman says the incident occurred early Sunday after the father and son began arguing about the lack of orange juice at their home. He says the son damaged the home and broke a porcelain vase. Arming himself with a handgun, the father chased the son out the front door. He fired several shots, striking the teenager once in his buttocks. The son was taken to a hospital with injuries that did not appear to be life-threatening. Police in Baton Rouge says Eldrick Dukes faces charges of attempted manslaughter and illegal use of a weapon.
That's all for Coyote News. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
And if you have a story idea you'd like to share, email it to us at kyotnews@usd.edu. Have a great night. We'll leave you with highlights from the women's basketball win against Creighton in the last round of the Women's National Invitational Tournament. See you next week.
Holding in on the baseline, gets it into Contreras for three, got it! Belly Stewart throws it in the lane. McLeod back out Contreras for three.